There is a problem in aviation that isn't often spoken about. Now, there's no denying that these things are just incredibly fun. For me, there is no better feeling than just coming and jumping in a plane and getting up in the sky to just decompress. But as much as these things can be incredibly fun, they can also have a bit of a sting in the tail. See, it's quite ironic that we're starting the video here at Lufkin because this is where the wreckage of the Space Shuttle Columbia came down after it broke up on re-entry about 20 years ago, with the sad loss of those on board. It's also where one of the helicopters involved in the rescue operation to recover the debris, well, that crashed near here as well in Lufkin. So starting this video here is kind of quite apt, really. Lufkin traffic, Cirrus 2706, okay, run up complete and departing at runway 7, Lufkin traffic. T's and P's, all in the green, airspeed is alive. Looking traffic, Cirrus 06 Echo, right downwind, runway 07 will be departing to the west. Looking traffic. You see, the thing is, aviation is a very tight-knit community. Anywhere in the world, aviation is a tight-knit community, not least in places like America and like Texas, because here in Texas, everybody knows everybody in aviation, and it's the same in the UK as well. Over there, everybody knows everybody. You might not necessarily know somebody personally, but you know of them. You'll have chatted to them on Facebook groups, you'll have spoken to them on forums, you might have bumped into them at airports from time to time and said hi. The fact is, you might not know everybody personally, but there's still that connection between people. And that's a problem, or it can be a problem, at least. When I was first learning to fly about 22, 23 years ago, I got a very important lesson very early on. I was flying out of Leicester Airport in the UK, and I was there every Saturday and Sunday for my flight lessons, a bright young kid flying a Cessna 152, turning up happy every single weekend. And off we went, doing all sorts of things, as you do when you're learning to get your private. You bump into people every time you're there, you see people, you say hi, you don't necessarily know who they are, but you'll recognise their faces and you'll say hello at the airport, and you might make a witty comment while you're waiting for a drink at the coffee bar or whatever. You don't ever actually get to know a lot of these people personally, although sometimes you do, but you do actually get to sort of know them because you just see them around. Now, there was one couple I used to speak to there quite a bit down at Leicester. They were an older couple, and I used to see them coming and going all the time. And one day, I finished my lesson, I was just saying goodbye to the flight school, held the door open for them, they were coming and they were about to head off on a trip somewhere. Said hi, as we normally do, wished them a good flight, got in the car and drove home. A few hours later, watching BBC News, there'd been a plane crash at Leicester Airport. And it turned out that the couple who I'd seen around the airport and held the door open for as they went into the tower, well, sadly, they had an accident after takeoff and both of them lost their lives. That was the moment where I realised that aviation can be a dangerous beast. Something similar happened to me as well when I was at Gamston. There was a guy who used to fly an amazing little Cessna 152 out of Gamston. And it was painted up in the American flag, that's why you remembered it. It was a Cessna 152, you saw it often, you shared the pattern with him, he taxied out behind. I've never actually met the guy. And again, he was up on a flight one day and ended up in the side of a mountain in the Lake District. Again, another sad loss to aviation. The older you get, the more time you spend in aviation, the more these things hit close to home, and it is scary really. You learn more, you meet more people, you fly in more places, everything starts to get closer and closer and closer to home the more you fly, and it's quite scary really. This year there's been two major incidents that have come really close to home for me. The first one was the sad loss of Devin Riley, who is a female pilot. She flew a T6 Texan, massive Warbird fan. She's very active on all the local Facebook groups here in Texas, all the local pilots groups. And you see a Texan flying around. When you were flying, you'd hear her on frequency. She was based over at New Braunfels, not far from here. We've flown in there before and seen the planes there as well. We saw her at Oshkosh We walked past an aeroplane and she was giving kids tours of the warbird, showing them around it.
42.
And then she took off on a flight to Oshkosh and unfortunately had an accident over Lake Winnebago and lost her life. Just the feeling of grief. I never met this person. I've never met Devin Riley. Apart from seeing her on Facebook groups, that was kind of as much as you know her.
Okay,
I know people who did know her personally. And that shook me up. She was a young woman in the prime of her life. She was 30 years old. She'd a very skilled, proficient pilot. She'd learned a lot. She was flying these T6 warbirds, doing displays and introducing people to the world of these warbirds. And then, unfortunately, lost her life doing what she loved, but she still is no longer with us, leaving a massive hole in that family and in the Texas aviation community. Richard McSpadden also sadly lost his life this year. You might not know his name, but you probably will know his face if you watch a lot of aviation videos on YouTube. He was the head of safety for the AOPA, the Aircraft Owner and Pilots Association here. He had a YouTube channel. He used to talk often about safety. He was a massive safety advocate. He was head of the safety division at AOPA. And I met him. I did meet him. He's a lovely guy. I met him up at Dallas. I did a did a show with, Taking Off with Dan Milliken and Christy up there, and he was on before me. His interview was just before me, and we ended up sitting around chatting. Amazing guy. Just such a lovely guy, and had time to speak to you and talk to you about all things aviation. You would think there is nobody in aviation in a safer place than he is.
3277, good day, 61.
He lost his life in a plane crash. Still not entirely sure what happened. The accident report's still out, being worked on and everything by the NTSB. But he's a guy, everybody knew his face. He was literally the safety man in aviation, and he lost his life. And that brings it even closer to home, because not only is that somebody that you've met, somebody that you're familiar with and that you know, it's somebody who should know what they're doing, and did know what they're doing. You know, he was a very, very well-respected, well-trained pilot. Even he fell foul of the beast that can be aviation. It makes me worry. It does make me worry, because these things get closer to home all the time. Constantly, you hear of another accident and you're like, I've flown into that airport. I've met that guy. I've flown that plane. I've seen that plane. These things, the more these things happen, the more they get closer to home. And it is sad. It really is. Aviation is amazing. I love it. Just this feeling of sitting here, flying high up, cruising from one place to another. It's just absolutely also be heartbreaking. Too many people lose their lives doing what they love, flying planes. People who are incredibly skilled pilots. You don't have to be. You don't have to be an unskilled, fresh pilot, fresh out of the box, to have any problems while you're flying. In fact, the more you fly, in my mind, the more you fly, the more complacent you get.
And that's the thing. You see, complacency is what really scares me in aviation. I'm at 250 hours now, and they say the most dangerous time to fly is between 100 and 400. That puts me sock in the middle of that. That's because you know enough to get yourself hurt, but you don't quite have the experience to get you out of the crap when you need to. It's part of the reason I'm on a constant quest to add more ratings, as the more I can fly with an instructor, the more I hope that they'll keep me in check.
Okay, so College Station are using runway 35, which is the northerly runway. Got the runway in sight over there. So we're going to be, I guess they're going to bring us in on a left downwind, on a right downwind for runway 35.
006 Echo, contact Eastwood Tower, 118.5, good day.
18506, okay, thank you.
006 Echo, I'm sorry, 128.7, 28.7 for Eastwood Tower.
I was just about to ask about that. Thank you. 1128.7 at 06. Okay, have a good day. Yeah, no timed out. So, okay, cool. Eastwood Tower, Cirrus 2706 Echo.
2706 Echo, Eastwood Tower. Good afternoon. You just give me a call in midfield, right downwind, runway 35.
Full midfield, right downwind, runway 3506 Echo. So 321 is the elevation, so our pattern height will be 1300. Bumpy, bumpy, bump. Okay, something on runway 35. Once we land, it'll be off to the right on Bravo, presumably, and we'll go into Aston Aviation, which is the same place we went to before. There is College Station. Go Aggies, which is what they say about Texas A&M. I think it's a football team. We're on the right tack, that's fine. We are going to get fuel on the ground because we're down to 5 gallons in the left, 12 gallons in the right, 17 gallons of fuel. So we've got about an hour and a half of fuel left, and it's about a 30-minute flight, but back to Hooks from college. So I'm going to get fuel here up to tabs because I don't want to be getting into my minimum fuels. That's not a good thing. And there is beautiful College Station.
College Station, Unit 2520, requesting clearance to Baton Rouge with Mike.
2520 Eastwood, you clear to the Baton Rouge Airport is filed. On departure, maintain 3000. Expect flight about 310, 10 minutes after departure.
Cirrus 6, we're now late downwind runway 35.
So, Echo, thank you, runway 35, clear to land, wind 00, correction, wind 0408.
Clear to land runway 35, 06, okay.
Now don't get me wrong, flying is one of the most incredible experiences in the world. It's just a shame that it has to contain so much heartbreak.
There is a United plane down, that's an A320, wow. What are you doing at College Station?
And since recording this video, we've lost yet more aviators doing what they love. Tennessee Flygirl, a popular YouTuber, lost her life recently, as well as countless others, each coming close to home for so many people, I'm sure.
A bit high.
Every time I touch down, I feel grateful that I've managed another flight doing what I love, and in the back of my mind think of all the others that weren't so lucky.
Zero 66, go ahead and make the right turn on Bravo, then a left on Alpha, Alpha to the ramp.
Right on Bravo, then left on Alpha, Alpha 2 to the ramp 06, okay, thank you. Alright, welcome to College Station.
Let's take 1 Sierra Yankee as you come on the...
Have we got to follow me, car?
Alright, welcome to College Station, Eastwood Airport. I've not actually left the terminal building here before. It's the first time I've actually left the terminal, but I've heard there's a nice restaurant, so we're going to see if we can find it. Apparently the reason the United 737 is here is because they do football charters for the Aggies, which is the Texas A&M football team. So there we go, apparently they're on a charter, and that's why the 737's there. Where is this restaurant? I'm just going to see if I can find it. Oh, I think I might have found it. Gate 12, Bar and Grill. That'll do. Hi, how are you? Hello there. I'm just going to table for one, please. How epic does this burger look? That is epic. Oh, there we go, College Station, Texas, back here again. I've got a short flight now back to Houston, but we made it, and I've had a nice lunch as well. Not a bad landing, that one either. Getting a little bit firm after my last flight as well, which was also slightly firm, but we're getting there. It's been a while, I'm just getting used to flying the Cirrus again now. It handles very differently when you land it, so I'm happy with that anyway. I've had an amazing lunch here too. Thank you to the guys here at the bar and restaurant here at College Station. Come check it out, it's really nice, very nice food. I'm going to get back in the plane and head off on another flight now. So thank you so much for watching, as always, take care. And I'll see you next time, back in the skies.